Hi Kairos Connection family, it's good to be with you today, and I am excited by all that God is doing, all that lies ahead. Like many of you, I'm sure, I feel like I'm in a busy, hectic season right now, and there's so much going on that it's hard to know quite where to focus at times. I think the autumn term often feels like that. And of course, with those pressures, often things that are important get squeezed out. Things like family and friendship, things like personal reflection time for renewal and looking after our bodies, but also time just in listening to God. I don't know about you, but I often find myself just pressing through and keeping going when things get tough. I find myself coming up against challenges, and internally there's a dialogue that says, keep going, try harder, keep going, try harder. But there's two questions I've started to train myself to ask in those moments of challenge or frustration or disappointment. And it's these two questions. Firstly, what are you saying about this, God? But secondly, and perhaps more importantly, in this situation, what are you saying about me, Lord? It's a bit of a twist on the old two discipleship questions, but an important one because it allows God to speak into our identity, remind us who we are and what He's called us to be and do. Because it's at that issue of identity that we so often find ourselves coming under attack. And as I'm learning to ask God what He thinks about me in a situation where I may be feeling like I'm failing or I'm frustrated or disappointed, often just those simple words of affirmation from God about who I am make all the difference. And what He thinks about a situation, sometimes it's not a straightforward, do this, Nick, or do that. It's just He gives His opinion on the matter. And I think, oh, well, that's a new way of looking at it, God. That's really helpful. Thank you. So those two questions, what do you think about this and what do you think about me, are two really helpful questions that myself and others are learning to ask in the challenging moments. It is, of course, challenging living this lifestyle, the lifestyle of disciple makers, of missionary disciples. Sometimes it's easy to think, let's go back to the old way of doing things. Life was so much simpler. And we are constantly up against a culture where consumerism, comfort, and convenience are always ready to drag people back into a way of life that mitigates becoming true disciple makers. But hopefully, like myself, you also feel there's no other way to live. We've been spoiled for any other way of living. And however challenging it is to lead our churches into churches where a culture of disciple making drives the church with its program and its activities and its events, we want to keep going because it's the church that Jesus died for and is coming back for. And I don't want to invest in anything else. Just a reminder that in a couple of weeks' time, we have the amazing opportunity to come together on November the 12th at the Philadelphia campus of NCS in Sheffield for an amazing Leaders' Day. You're welcome to bring your whole teams. We're particularly encouraging you to bring a couple of younger leaders because there will be a real focus on training up and emerging leaders, younger leaders on that day. We're going to have 4 streams, an opportunity to dip into at least 2 of them. A stream for how do we disciple children and young families? How do we disciple younger leaders, students and youth? How do we disciple that generation that's on the edge, that's come from the most fragmented and marginalized and dysfunctional backgrounds? And how do we disciple that generation that we're calling the wiser generation? A little bit older, a little bit more space and time perhaps, but equally committed and passionate about the journey of becoming disciples who make disciples. So it's all about discipling the generations. I hope you're going to join me there on that day. It's going to be amazing. Do book in. You can get to the booking site through the Kairos Connection website, and let's make the very most of this opportunity, not only to learn from those who are further ahead, but learn from each other in the process and enjoy just being family together. If there's somebody you'd particularly like to invite to join you, then please do invite them along if you think they're interested in engaging with Kairos Connection. If they're a church leader, you're welcome to do that. And we'll see you there. God bless you.